Well, hey now, I did a video, I guess about a week ago, and I haven't yet put it together and posted it, but I realized as I was watching it and looking at any editing that was required, that one of the things I was considering was really around my experience recently at going to rock shows, going to rock concerts. And one of the things that I've noticed, and this may be a product of getting a bit older and going to rock shows, is I've been getting a little bit irritated with people talking at shows. So people beside me that are talking all the way through the show, and at some point I just turn and go like, "Are you going to talk the whole show?" And they're nonplussed. Maybe they're a little drunk or whatever, and this happened to me twice in the four shows that I saw where people were just talking loud the whole show right next to me. And it was driving me crazy. Anyways, one of the things I said in my video as I was shooting it was I would kind of get to some of the thoughts I have about live rock and roll music. And I didn't really get to it. And I think in many ways it's really just a product of probably getting a little bit older and getting a little bit less, or getting more impatient with some of the trappings of, I guess, a concert in a club sometimes. And I love it, and I go to lots of shows, and that's why I'm thinking, well, maybe I should just slow it down a bit and go to a bit less. The other thing is sometimes I'm finding that the standard rock show is not as much fun or as exciting as it used to be. This really hit home for me when I went to see the Jonestown Massacre, which I'll talk about in a minute. But, just kind of a lot of it seems kind of boring and not so good. So I didn't really get into a lot of details about it. It's a little self-indulgent, but just in terms of, seeing live music, maybe I need to find different types of shows to go to, and just sort of your standard rock and roll shows aren't necessarily doing it for me as much as they used to. And maybe there's just a phase I'm going through as well. But those are some thoughts. And here's the video that I put together about the four shows I saw over a couple weeks recently. Well, hey now, welcome to Fitz Electric Bar. I'm here to talk about four shows. I ended up having tickets shows that came about within a 2-week period. So I want to talk a little bit about each of these four shows. And I normally, when I'm doing videos, I don't really love the idea of doing videos where I'm super critical of stuff, because maybe I just grew up in an environment where everybody always said, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. But this is also going to kind of be a little bit of a self-examination in terms of going to live shows these days, and some of the challenges sometimes I find going to live shows and the way that I react to a live experience. So let's start it off. The first band I saw was at the Rickshaw, and it was the Dream Syndicate. Now, I remember seeing the Dream Syndicate, I think not long after the Days of Wine and Roses came out, their first record. Kind of main proponents of the so-called Paisley Underground, the desire to always slot things into groups and genres and subgenres. This is a great record, right? The Days of Wine and Roses, the title track, that's what you always say, tell me when it's over. Lots of really good stuff. And I love these guys at the time. And I remember seeing them again within that after this first record was out, and really enjoyed the show. It was really, really good. So this time they played at a place called the Rickshaw on the downtown east side of Vancouver. So all of these shows are Vancouver shows, again, within about a 2-week time period. And what they were actually touring this album, The Medicine Show, which I believe is their second album. I should have done a little bit of research, but I think these first two, The Days of Wine and Roses, Medicine Show, kind of came out, and I don't know if there was much after that. At least I don't think there was a lot of interest in them after that. And then years later, and right up until now, they're releasing some music. And this was a record or a CD that I bought recently. Not recently, probably, my God, when did this come out? 2017, 8 years ago recently, right when this came out. And how did I find myself here again as the Dream Syndicate? Now, the lead singer and rhythm guitarist, Steve Wynn, has been involved in a lot of different projects. He's been involved in the -5, I believe, with Scott McCaughey and Peter Buck, and also the Baseball Project, and Steve Wynn in the Miracle 3. I think they were called. And I really loved Steve Wynn in the Miracle 3. Saw them once in the Knitting Factory in Los Angeles. There was a kind of edge to them, and I thought they were really, really good. But specifically talking about the Dream Syndicate, so at a club or a former, movie theater called the Rickshaw, smack dab in the middle, pun intended, of the downtown east side, where there's a lot of issues in terms of homelessness, mental health issues, and drug addiction. And you go through that on your way to the show, and what really struck me about this show was just how few people were there. To show a little clip here, it reminded me of dreams I used to have when I was younger, where bands would appear in my neighborhood. They would be playing either a show on a little hill at the corner of my street or in our backyard. I can remember dreaming of the Kinks doing that, of the Clash doing that. Those were really exciting. But this was a dream like that because nobody showed up. There were hardly any people. And I kind of found it a little bit sad. To the band's credit, they pushed through and they put on a pretty decent show. But I will say that, when you don't have any of the excitement of a good crowd, or that you're playing something that people really, want to hear, I don't really feel that Medicine Show is really that great a record. I was playing it again. I think it's okay, but it doesn't measure up to the first record, I don't think. And the show was just when I was sitting in the seat and I was then looking at the crowd in front, and you'll see from the video just how sparsely attended it really was, and that certainly takes away a lot of the excitement of a live show. Came across Rob. You'll see him in the video. Rob is the proprietor of Neptune Records. Show was okay. I didn't love it. So a little bit like sort of 0 for 1 on the show front. The second one that I went to see was old favorites of mine, Skydiggers. Now, any of you Canadians will know this band probably beyond just the name. They would know some of the songs like I Will Give You Everything, A Penny More, things like that. This is Skydiggers' first record. And I think this was their second record, Restless, certainly an early one. And they kind of fall in the same camp as Blue Rodeo, sort of got an element of rootsiness to them. They've gone through some different incarnations. Peter Cash, who was with the Cash Brothers, with Andrew Cash for a while, sang with them, Ronnie Von Johnny on bass, things like that. And again, it was a sold out show, I think, or very close to it at the Hollywood Theater, a much nicer venue. But I found it a bit uninspiring, and it begs the question, is it me or is it the band? I suppose the newer music didn't really turn my crank, although there was a few songs that were pretty good. And even the older ones, it just felt a little bit nostalgic. So Skydiggers, Hollywood Theater, not bad. But I would say 0 for 2, really, in terms of inspiring concerts. Third show, Neko Case. Neko Case playing at the Vogue Theater on Granville Street. I've got most of her stuff on CD. I've shown this before, but Greatest Hits on vinyl. I just love Neko Case. She was with the New Pornographers. I could never really get into the New Pornographers. It wasn't a band that really did it for me. But I've liked Neko Case right from the beginning. I think the Virginian, she covers Duchess, the Scott Walker song, and just does a great cover of what is a great song. And I also have this memory, a couple of memories of past shows with her. One of them was opening up for Nick Cave at the Paramount in Seattle and enjoying that show, and then also seeing Neko Case sing with Nick Cave. They had a song together. I think it was from a movie maybe, I can't remember, but I remember them singing together. The other one, I don't know if you ever get this, but you have these fleeting memories, and they're from just very short moments of your life. And this was at Bumbershoot in Seattle, must have been 20 plus years ago. And I was walking from one stage to another and realized that Neko Case was playing at kind of one of these outdoor stages. And I remember just being on the periphery and walking by and hearing her sing in her absolutely beautiful voice. I find Neko Case's voice so unique, beautiful, and timeless, and full, like really, really full. And she was singing this song, and it was absolutely beautiful. And I remember it was just the end of her set, and standing really far away and hearing her voice carrying in the autumn night, and just finding it transportive. And I always remember that. I don't remember the song. I just remember the experience of this beautiful, beautiful song that Neko Case performed. This show was a home run. This was really good. Again, her voice, fantastic. She's got a new book out, or a book out for the last year. I went to see her give a talk, not a reading, but a talk about it, and get interviewed about 6-8 months ago. But I always love seeing Neko Case, probably 7 or 8 times in my life. Anytime she's in town, I'll usually go and see her. We were at the Vogue, very close to the front, and just a great show. Band was very good. It was a little bright for my taste. In other words, it kind of was like a little bit harsh on the treble side of things. But man, they cooked, and there were some times when there were some sort of jams. You don't think of Neko Case as jamming, but some sort of short jams where she was doing her guitar part and the other guitarist was, there were 2 guitarists. Usually one was either folk or acoustic, sorry. And anyways, the jam that they had was really great. Recommend that you go check her out. I haven't listened to her new record yet. I'm sure I will at some point in time, maybe get it as well. But Neko Case, home run. So we're 1 for 3 now. And then the last show was, I don't have any of their formally released records, but the Jonestown Massacre playing at the Pearl, formerly the Venue, another Granville Street live venue. Again, a band that I've seen many times. To me, the appeal of the Jonestown Massacre is a fewfold. So one of them is they've got this sort of garage psychedelic sound that when they're on is really quite magical. They create these grooves that are just fantastic. But when they're off, as I felt they were on this particular night, it seems like everything is going really slowly. It's like everybody's on barbiturates and tranquilizers, and they're really, really going slow. And I have a feeling it's all about Anton, and he was, his usual kind of ornery, meandering self. And quite frankly, after having seen this many times before, but it seemed exaggerated, like literally 5 to 7 minutes between songs, where there'd be slow tune-ups. At one point he said, I'm going to go have a cigarette. And he was literally gone for the length of time of a cigarette while the band all stood around. Joel, the tambourine guy, just kind of said a few things about his book. It was, I call them the anti-momentum band, the band where there's just no momentum. And boy, I don't like a Jonestown Massacre crowd. People just like going to songs that came too slow, too late, and too boring to deserve any kind of high energy whooping up. So that was definitely another strike. So 1 out of 4 in baseball, that's .250. It's an okay batting average, but it's not great for live music. And so the risk of being somewhat negative, I have to ask myself, should I keep going and seeing live shows at the same pace that I'm doing before? Again, when people are kind of getting hammered or just like talking the whole way through the show, I'm not loving it. So sorry for the negativity, but those are 4 shows and 1 home run. Carpe diem, motherfuckers.